I'm Creature, and welcome to Creature Creations. Today we're going to talk about the clothing of the Destined Souls, which is something I find very interesting because I love creating characters just as much as I love showing their expression through their clothes. And there probably will be some over here too, as I go on, so if I don't really pay attention to that, it's because editing me is putting pictures up. But, okay. The Destined Souls. It takes place in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. And at first I didn't really incorporate more of what each, okay. So each breed, I don't know, breed sounds weird. Each species, there we go. Each species kind of has its own culture and certain things that they wear, yada yada yada. And originally when I first was trying to make the characters, and I'll show you in this one, hopefully you can see it, they're oh yeah, here we go, specifically here, they have clothes, but it's you can't really tell who they are from their clothes, right? And not to mention too, that one you saw is a witch, right? And as you will see much later on, that it's bland. Or not, well, you can see now it's bland. The clothes don't tell you anything about this person. Maybe this person likes to be more covered, likes to be more in the dark with, the hood, which I don't think you can fully see, but I don't know. I like clothing and minor detail to speak for the character more than the words themselves, right? And I'm gonna put this, there we go. I will be shortly showing you that. But with the clothes, how I kind of found that perfect balance, right? I was thinking, okay, these creatures, they have their own everything. Their own religion, their own things that they do that are specifically for them. But clothing, there was no difference. And mainly this was more so for the witches too, because they're the main look when it comes to the Destined Souls. We won't be spending as much time in the other aisles, not yet at least. So out of all of them, mainly the witches are the ones that I focus on the most. But I'm the witches seem like people, and I don't want the people, or I don't want the witches to seem like people, because there are humans in these aisles. And I wanted the witches to have their own style, that if I were to show you two of them, you could be yeah, that's a witch. But it still have that 60s, or 50s, 40s, and 60s kind of touches to them. And a lot, which I'm going to show you right now actually. This wasn't one of them, but I really like this picture and I want to show it off. But this is actually a good example. I wanted to show the culture through the clothing. And even though she may be a witch, I'm not too sure, but that's what I want to do with all of them. And for the witches, they really kind of have that everyday look. And I didn't want that everyday look. I wanted them to have their own look, of course. And actually, here it is. I wanted everyone to have their own look, like I said, while still having that they're from here, but you can see more through their clothing who they are as people. And here are some of those examples of me trying to find that good in between. And specifically for this one, this is from the Orleans. And I can tell by, how their style is. And this is just, the beginnings. This doesn't have a date, which I'm not surprised. I'm kind of bad at dating my things, but certain pieces that were more so just, practice to kind of, or practice for what I wanted. And I can especially tell because of the dragon, how I know these are Orlans, because dragons have a high regard and respect in their culture. And also certain relics and such. And here are more of the Orlans. And I was trying to find that, like I said, that good mix. And for the Orlans, I really haven't worked on them, so I quite frankly don't really know why I worked on them so much at the time. But I know up here she's a witch. I'm pretty sure she's a witch too. And this was in 2024. Wow, that's crazy. Anyways. And also too when it comes to the hair, because I feel like the hair and the clothing are good, like they're like this, you know, together forever. Because I feel like hair can really pull the look off. Like they complement each other. And it's hard trying to find that sweet balance. Especially when it was so early on in here. When I was starting to do it. And also to the style itself. Trying to find... And kudos to people who can find style that go good with their art style. Because that is hard. That's something I learned quickly with these. But anywho. As I went on. I was trying to like put the own... Like put my own touch to it while still taking inspiration from like I said, the 60s or that era, but also from their area and what they're surrounded by. Something that was a good blend. And I can tell that these are witches by the style. And there it is, just some having that mix. But you can tell though, like, these don't really give off witch vibes. I just know they're witches because I worked on it and I remembered it. But if I were to show you this and like excluding the ear, you would think that's just a normal chick or chicks, because it doesn't have that uniqueness of who they are and their culture in it. But like I said, soonly you will see the difference. Like you see, just they're just clothes. They don't really tell you who they are. I mean, it may show who they are and what they like in the sense of like style and such, but you wouldn't say that these are witches or anything. And that's that. And then here we go. We're starting to get more into it closer now. That's me just still figuring it out. And this is more so just like the hair of it all than the actual style. But this is what I mean. You can tell the difference now between who's a witch and who's not by their clothes. Before, when you saw it, there was no style, no pattern, or no indication that they were witches or anything. But now, if you were to look at some of these, like this one, it's got a web, and those have ghosties, and that one has a web too. But now you can see, like, the creativity going into, hey, they're not just people who are wearing clothes, they're people that shows who they are through their clothes. And even like something like this can tell you too, but in the sense of like, you can say like, oh yeah, they have something spooky going on, you know, and those are the witches. They have that. And it may be simple, but you know, there's nothing wrong with simple. And especially to messing with the shape as well. And adding extra details. I think that's really it for that part. but that's what I mean. So yeah, the clothing, I feel like if you're someone who wants to take anything from me, any advice, when it comes to creating clothing for a character, especially when you kind of have characters that are out of this world, try to incorporate who or what they are in their clothes, because that gives them a sense of like human characteristics, a realistic, I don't know what the right word is, but it gives them more of a sense of realism, if that makes sense. Like, if your character was real right now and you took parts of their culture and things of that nature that are surrounding them and you put it in their clothes, it gives self-expression. It gives them more self-expression, for one, and just that more realistic, like, hey, the world is more realistic, and especially the people who are in it. Because if you have, it's like, okay, let me put it like this. If you have an alien from out of this world, you know, and I see an alien with Gucci flip-flops and Supreme, I'm gonna be like, that, especially if you have this amazing world built and like they live in like domes or something, and I see an alien with Gucci flip-flops, I'm gonna be like, that doesn't really seem it fits with the world. And that's, you know, exactly, when you give your character clothes that fit them, it fits the world and it fits them. And you know what, maybe there's an alien wearing Gucci flip-flops, but like, if your show or whatever it may be has a certain tone to it, especially if it's something more serious, everything counts, you know. And that's the biggest thing I'd say. Just know that, especially when it comes to clothing, because clothing is self-expressive. You can look at someone and get a good guess of who they are through their clothing. Like, someone who is more chill is not going to be dolled up, you know. Someone who is very dolled up probably is not going to wear something that someone who chill would be, you know. And I mean chill in the sense of like not really caring what they wear, as long as they're wearing clothes they can go out in public. That's what I mean. And that's the biggest thing, because it shows also the people what the world is about, you know. Like, for instance, this one right here, that's a mask, just in case you didn't know. You can tell by this photo that, you know, she's wearing a mask, so you can assume that, why is she wearing that mask? And also, too, clothes give people good reason to question. Like, if I were to look at this and act like I know nothing about what this is, I could be like, okay, she's wearing a mask. What does the mask have to do with the world, you know? And her clothes, even though this is a lot more basic, because the point of this is not really, like, the clothes, it's about, like, what's going on. It's like, okay, does this outfit in particular have something to do with correlation of power or something, you know? And even though this is very basic, people wonder, okay? And if someone really likes what you do, they'll ask questions. And even though this doesn't even show much, and which, you know, this can even prove, like, you don't need much to show something about a character. Like I said, what do the clothes represent? Why the mask? You know, make people question. Or be like, oh, okay, well, that mask seems like it has importance. What about that mask makes this person important? You know? And I would show, I don't know, can you see that one up there? Or like, up there. Even though this one isn't really Or you know what, actually, I guess this one could work too. For her species, why is she wearing just normal clothes, you know? Oh, you can't see me. Hello! But yeah, for someone who is a witch, why is she just wearing normal clothes? Her people normally don't just wear normal clothes. But yeah, like I said, her people don't normally wear normal clothes. Why is she wearing normal clothes? You know? And their clothes don't really... Their clothes are just to them. There's nothing really particularly interesting about their clothes, but... You can still... I feel like you can kind of tell it different, because those look more witchy than this one, you know? But yeah, it's all about just questions and asking... Or it telling you. Because I don't know, I don't think I see it in this picture, but there is a picture of her that has a similar dress like that, and I'll put it up to where it has, like, witchy stuff on it. You know? But yeah, clothing can make people wonder and also correlate things together. Because if you give someone a good reason to ask why, they're gonna figure out why. You know, because people are just naturally like that. We ask why, you know? So yeah, that's kind of like the clothing bit. And I probably will add more because, like, this is more so just, like, the physical part. This is not me editing. So editing me will probably pop in somewhere and talk more about clothing when it comes to more of the physical things. But... at least me right now, I'm Creature. Create your creations and peace out. Okay, hi, editing me. This is where I kind of wanted to put the pictures at, because I didn't feel like I really had enough room to put, like, the other pictures. Because, like, I was showing you the progress on, like, the paper, and I didn't want to, like, I didn't want there to be too many things on the screen at once, you know, iPad kid kind of moment. Like, I didn't want to, like, flash. So this is me adding those pictures here, which, as you can see, and some of them, which I don't know which ones are going to be flashing right now, but, you can tell, like, if you compare certain, characters, or more so, like, their clothing, you can tell that they each have their own style, like I said, and, like, they each, in the area they're from, shows that they're from that area through their clothes. And, like, whether it be through design, lack of design, like, you can just tell because of the influence of where they're at. Like, for the witches, I know the witches are the main ones, but that's also because out of all of them, I'm mainly focusing on them because the Destined Souls mainly focuses on the witches. But when it comes to the witches or the Orlans, you can see the difference because Orlans normally have dragons or some sort of element to their clothing, while the dragons really mainly just have, like, the elements to their clothing. The Orlans kind of have, like, a mix of both, but mainly they have dragons. The witches mainly have spooky things, and the humans normally have something of, like, musical nature to their clothes. So that's kind of how it's developed now compared to, like, the old ones I've shown you, where they don't really have that spunk to it. It's just like a witch in some basic clothing, you know. And as you can see, the progression up to now, there are definitely things different that if you were to compare the first one with the current one, you're like, oh yeah, you can definitely see that this gives more witchy vibes without it being overly witchy, because like I said, I still want it to fit in, like, the frame of the inspiration I've taken it from, but still have its unique style. That's, like, the biggest thing, and I hope that does get portrayed properly in what I'm showing you. But I'm just some more over here. Hopefully you did enjoy the video, and like, I know I said that like I don't know, maybe like 5 seconds ago, depending on how long this is, but hopefully you like it. And here are all the pictures. But I'm Creature. I'm actually logging off this time. Don't forget to create your creations and have a great day. Bye.